Once I get something into my head, I really get it into my head, and I'm probably not going to stop until that thing gets done. In this case, the task of the day was cutting my own hair. Yes, one of many questionable decisions, but I decided to go forward anyway, tie it all off just like I saw in a YouTube tutorial, and because I don't have that much hair anymore, it actually wasn't all that difficult. I just snipped it at the exact same spot in these two little pigtails, and then to be honest, this was, I'd say 75% of it done. So then I took out the elastics, and this part was actually quite quick. What took a lot longer was for me to just go back in, snip it, even it out. I actually even added a few long layers using a combination of different online tutorials that I saw showing you how to do it. The secret is though your hair needs to be quite long. I don't think you can do this like on chin length hair. I think doing your own bob would be much more difficult, but this got it like 80% of the way. But then I had to spend quite a bit more time just making sure that I evened it out because there were a few long bits in the back that I had to account for. So I trimmed those up and even added a few layers. I have actually been trimming my bangs for a long time. This is the first time I've ever done a full trim though. So it wasn't actually that hard altogether. And in the end, I think it turned out pretty good. And then I just finished off by doing my bangs, which I had like 7 years experience doing. So I'm pretty good on the bangs. And I was pretty happy with this, all things considered.
Hello, it is a beautiful spring day. It is actually 20 degrees, and yesterday it snowed. I'm not even kidding. Look here on my deck. These are the last vestiges of yesterday's surprise snowfall. And today we've been catapulted into spring weather that I would say is not even just warm, it's actually hot. I'm out here in my linen shirt and it is a bit gusty, so hopefully the mic is not picking that up too much. So I guess we'll do a little bit of an outfit of the day. I'm wearing that linen shirt you saw me thrift a few weeks ago from Salvation Army, and just also the Citizen of Humanity skinny jeans, also thrifted from Salvation Army. And then these kicks, these are the New Balance. These are my favorite pair, and I wear them so much. This is basically my daily footwear because I have a lot of foot problems and I need to be comfortable. I am, however, getting absolutely blasted by sun, so I hope you don't mind if I just kind of hang here a little bit in the shade. I have no strict plans for this video. Sometimes I have like a theme or like things that I know I want to touch upon, and I don't really, but I'll tell you what I was almost going to do. I was almost going to sit down and make a standalone video, which I've decided not to do, about why I've kind of transitioned into more vlogs rather than standalone product reviews. Even though I love making standalone product reviews, there's a big problem now. And the problem is this, and I've noticed it really tanking all of the work that I do. Like, I'm really getting undermined by YouTube itself. What's happening is that if I make a review, for instance, the most recent one I made was on a microphone, not this microphone, but one called the Hollyland. I made a video that I kept it tight, I edited it really well. I worked on the search engine optimization for it, and it completely tanked. This is unusual for me. Usually when I make a product review, I'm so dialed in on how to do them now. I usually will get thousands of views. It's not an issue. This one has 107 views or something at the time of this filming. The reason for that, I think, YouTube now is generating these little summaries, and that means you don't even have to watch the video. You can just click on it, open it, and in 5 sentences, you'll know what the video is about. You'll know the pros and cons that the creator has discussed. So for anybody making product reviews, this is maybe your wake-up call that that's not gonna be a great strategy going forward. Not for growth anyway. If you love making them, by all means make them, but you may find that it is a land of diminishing returns because the AI generative monster is just sucking up all our work and spitting out results. But here's the thing, as a user of reading these things on the other end of it, I don't mind. Sometimes I'll watch the video, sometimes I'll get the information I need, and then I don't bother watching the video. But it's interesting that they're kind of cannibalizing their own bread and butter. Now, you guys know I have an art channel, and I think it has affected the art channel reviews to some degree, but here's the thing that's interesting about art is because it's such a visual medium, people can read all they want what I say about like what this pen looks like when you start to draw with it, but they're gonna still wanna see it, so they still do open those videos. But ones where it's just, you don't need to rely so much on the visuals, like the microphone review, you can just read that and be done. So I don't know what that means for my channel, once again. The sands are always shifting, and you know, I'm just trying to make things that are fun for me to make, basically. So that's why I'm not sure if I'm gonna make standalone product reviews. Probably I will start to embed them in vlogs, because here's the thing that's cool about vlogs. people are here because they like to hang out, right? They like the vibes. They just feel that it's a safe space. They just want to unwind with someone else, maybe body double while they're like, I don't know, folding laundry, just watch someone else is going about their day. You can't read like AI generated analysis of that. That's not going to take the place, I think, of that vlog space where people just want to hang. So that's where my thought was on that. And I'm glad I had someone to say it to, because nobody in my family wants to hear me yap on about this particular point. But I thought you guys might find it of interest. Okay, I'm still trying to hide here in the shade a bit. I'm really happy with how my hair turned out, considering that I've never trimmed my own hair before, but I don't have a lot of hair anymore, so it was actually quite simple. And I think it looks and feels pretty good. So that's, you know, $100 saved, because even going for a trim is basically a haircut. And actually don't even mind the outlay of the money. I think that stylists, of course, should be paid. It's not that, it's like the time and the mental energy expenditure to go and get just a trim. I was done in like 15 minutes maximum, including cleanup. So that was a win. Okay, what else is going on with me? Let's think here. Let's get rid of that light. So last time we met here, I was having a bit of an existential crisis when it comes to art. I started watercolor class, even though I was saying, you may recall, like maybe I'm at the end of the line with the watercolor, maybe I'm done with it, maybe I'm just a dabbler and that's just who I am and I need to accept that part of my personality. But then that probably begged the question, which I did not explain, why then are you investing in a watercolor class if you think you're done with that medium? Well, my friend Jen and I decided it would be a fun thing for us to do. Gets us out of the house, lets us have social time together, lets us have social time with other people, and builds like a discipline. Even if you feel like you've maybe done some of the subject matter, the thing about watercolor is it's very challenging. So you can definitely revisit it and still improve your skills. And then you still have an instructor to bounce things off of. Like, there are many benefits to going, even if I feel like maybe watercolor is not the end destination for my art practice. But speaking of destinations in art practice, I did start dabbling in oil. I've got this water mixable oil set, so it's a little bit easier to use because you don't need all the solvents that you normally would for real oil paint. You can get rid of it with water. You can mix water into it. And I'm going to show you what I've done so far. Like, once again, I'm on a learning curve, but I'm really invigorated and excited by it. So I just did these little studies just off the top of my head. They weren't based on reference photos or anything like that. You know, a lemon, a leaf that I smudged because I forgot that it doesn't dry quickly. Oil paint stays wet forever, you know. A cone flower, and just like a random flower out of my imagination. So that was my first ever foray into oil. I think I'm in love, so you'll probably see more of that. And then the next day I tried again and I didn't like it as much. So isn't that just like how the art process goes? Sometimes you have some beginner's luck. So that definitely happened to me. So I just wanted to explain a little bit more about why I was coming at these sort of two different angles of watercolor last time. My gosh, it is so windy out. It's so strange for it to be a combination of very warm and very windy. Listen to that. My daffodils are just starting to sprout, and if yours are in full bloom, I don't want to hear it. We're very far behind because, you know, once again, this is Canada. Our growing season is just later than yours, probably, and that's just how it is. Oh wow, a lot of wind. It's just too nice to stay cooped up. I'm out on the streets trying to enjoy this sunny day because tomorrow's not going to be as nice. One thing I did want to address though is, wait, let's just wait for this to pass. The one thing I wanted to address is how anxious everybody is lately. I'm definitely someone who struggled with anxiety. I'm not too bad at this moment because luckily I don't suffer from like generalized anxiety disorder. I'm just someone who copes with a lot of worrying, a lot of hypervigilance. That's actually my big issue. I can't turn off my brain. I have to be vigilant all the time. But I have come up with some pretty good coping skills over the years, which I will share with you in case they're helpful. So one thing I try and do that has been very helpful for me is just to realize that anxiety is normal too. Like, worrying about things is normal and it will pass. Acceptance, like radical acceptance that anxiety can be a part of life. However, with that said, another thing that's helped me is to try and figure out what it is. I don't like using this generalized term anxiety because for me, it's more helpful to dig a little and stop using that word if there's another that suits it better, if that makes sense. So for example, I am someone who has performance anxiety in some situations, and I couldn't understand why I was getting worked up in certain situations to the point where I could almost not function, and then I realized it's performance anxiety, and that's okay. And the thing about performance anxiety is it doesn't really go away. Once I accepted that as just like a true state of being for me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have performance anxiety and I will survive it. I'll do it. It will be unpleasant, but then I'll be exhilarated once it's done. The other sort of self-defeating idea I had about myself and my relation to anxiety is that, I'm an anxious traveler. It gives me a lot of anxiety to travel. And then I realized actually, that's not exactly the case. It's stressful. I find it stressful. I find the act of journeying from one place to another stress-inducing. Once I reframed it like that, I understood myself a lot better. And it's like, you're not actually anxious. You're just feeling stressed because there's a lot of things here you feel are out of your control. So what I did to cope with that, and what I do to cope with that, is I just say less. I just try and keep quiet because I know I will take my stress out on other people. I'll be like, hurry up, we're going to be late. And I'll just feel myself getting angrier and angrier. And I always thought that was anxiety, and it's not. It's just my way of coping with a stressful situation. So now I'm just like, this is the moment I find myself in, and I'm not taking it on. Because so much about travel is just out of your hands. You can only control what you can control. I find women in general much more willing to admit that they have issues dealing with anxiety or that they're feeling anxious in the moment. And admitting that, I think, is really powerful. It's actually helpful to name what it is, and then everybody around you can kind of rally around you. But when you just lash out with anger instead, I don't think it's as easy to cope with that, but I've learned how the older I get. However, that said, these are not non-acute cases of anxiety. I've had really acute anxiety, especially when I was going through my cancer diagnosis and subsequent surgery, which I was really afraid of. And the only thing that helped me was seeing a psychiatrist at that point. He was so helpful in helping me reframe some of the really negative thoughts I had. Like, he'd just come at me with a statistic or just say, well, this is what happens with other people. I'll give you an example. I had extreme anxiety about going under general anesthetic, which they still have the Christmas decorations out. I was terrified, and I guess I'm still a little bit, but I was really, really afraid of general anesthetic. I was sure I was not gonna wake up from it. As ridiculous as it was. And he told me, quite honestly, he's like, if that is your specific fear, to be honest, you might just have that until you have it and you wake up and you're okay, you survive it. It was realistic, And I thought, okay, well, that's what I have to work with. It's not some defect of me that I can't reframe myself to go into this in a more positive frame of mind. I had tons of other little tidbits as well that really helped me, but I'm not someone who regularly goes to therapy or anything like that. I don't want to make myself sound like a therapy expert. I'm not. I'm just saying, that was really bad. That was an anxiety where I was not sleeping at night at all. And then it turned out, ooh, it's too bright. And then it turned out that on my Facebook group, my Facebook neighborhood group, I saw him post once. So the psychiatrist that I had, who's so nice, he was so wonderful, actually also lives in my area. So that was, that was kind of funny. I didn't say anything though, because that would make things awkward. He was a specialist in psychiatry for cancer patients. Wow, what a great specialty. Later in the afternoon now, and I am back out, and I am in a different outfit that I had to change into because I've been doing some art this afternoon. The thing about oil paint is it can really stain your clothes, so you kind of have to wear something dark. So I'm heading out. I just got to get a bottle of wine for tonight's dinner. So this that I'm about to show you is Liquor Control Board of Ontario, LCBO.
Not pictured, however, is me sneezing 10 times because of the gusty winds blowing dust in my face. But if you see my nose is a bit red, that's why. I picked up this Pelé Pinot Grigio from a local winery. We have a lot of wineries in Ontario, and we make a lot of wine, a lot of good wine as well. And I believe I have been to this winery, so I like to pick up wines from places that I've been before. I wish I could say it's a great loss to not have picked up a California wine, but I actually typically don't buy California wines anyway. My usual favorite white is an Australian wine, and our favorite red is a French wine. So I don't know. I didn't really feel the loss. Maybe if I was a bourbon drinker or something that comes out of the US, I would be feeling it, but I'm happy to support local. What I won't do though is show you what I'm making, which is a chicken piccata, and I made that recipe in my Portugal vlog. So if you want to see that, go back and watch that. But otherwise, I'll see you, I guess, after dinner. I wish you guys could smell how nice it is in here. I got the Santal Gray candle from the Perfumery Lake and Sky, and it's so nice. It's this beautiful warm woodsy smell, and it looks really cute with my other little candle collection. This one is from Anthropology. This is a one I've had forever from Laline, and it just has this nice white look that kind of goes with my other fireplace mantle accessories. I also got another very unconventional delivery today. And this is something that I ordered a while ago and it finally came. It came all the way from the UK. And I'm sure you've never seen the likes of this before, but it is basically a stand for my embroidery. This is where we're at. It's very retired lady vibes. But I needed something, and you can see it here. I needed something to bring my embroidery, and here's what it's looking like. It's going ultra slowly, but I needed something to bring it up a little closer to my face, just in general, not just for this piece, but just because I really want to keep embroidering and I want to do it more now that the nice weather is coming. I like to do it outside when it's sunny. This is a terrible condition. It's very dark in here for me to be doing embroidery. Got the idea from some women that I've been watching who have embroidery channels, and you can put it on the table like this, or if you want to, and actually what it is for is to sit on it. So technically you sit on it like this, and then, I mean, not in such a squishy kind of couch situation, but you sit on it like this if you wish, and then you have this thing where you can bring it up, and then you just bring it much closer to your face. You can also sit with it like you're riding a horse kind of thing, and you just work like this. And so this is so much closer, and then you have both hands free to be able to do your embroidery. So that's what I'm working on tonight, guys. Not, this for me is now what constitutes a really nice night in, just working on my embroidery. Oh, I'm really liking the stand. I can already tell I'm gonna like it because now suddenly I don't have to hold the hoop with this hand. This hand is now free to help out the other hand. So that's gonna make things go much more quickly. But who cares? I don't care that it's quick. I care that it's more ergonomic and that it's a little closer to my eyes. So this is the Elbacy seat stand, and I paid a good amount of money. You can get cheapo ones from like, knockoff Amazon cheapo ones, but I bought the real thing. It's handmade in England. And, it was a splurge, but it wasn't a huge splurge. It was like 50 Canadian dollars. But I mean, it's all real wood except for this plastic clamp. So I'm happy to pay $50 for a handmade piece. Oh, yeah, this is going to be good. It is twisting though, so I got to figure out how to tighten these so that it doesn't twist. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it. And this is what we're looking like so far. I'm just filling in this bird's tummy and then I'm going to do the tail and actually don't have that much to do. I'd say I'm more than halfway done.
Well, good morning. I'm wearing my favorite thrifted Vince silk blouse. I love 100% silk and I love thrifting blouses because they just fit so well. The way that this is just like the perfect length for my arms, and it even has these nice tie-ups for when you're like cleaning the kitchen counter. But the sleeve length is quite nice. The drape is very nice. And I think I paid, $5 for this or something like that. I love thrifting. It really just lets me access a world of clothing you can't get anywhere else. So many unique pieces and a lot of like mid-tier designer. Like my designer clothes all comes from the thrift shop because I live in a very middle-class neighborhood, but the neighborhood right next to me is Forest Hill, which if you know, that's a really expensive neighborhood. And so you always see like a late model luxury SUV type car pulled up near the Salvation Army and, wealthy women dropping off their very expensive wardrobes to the Salvation Army when they're having a closet clear out. And I get to take advantage of that. So it's a really great spot. It's the Salvation Army on St. Clair West for those of you who want to check it out. So one of the great things about sharing my thoughts with you guys is that I also sit down and I think about them after I've said them, and I think about if there's any threads that I want to pick up, and there are actually. One thing that got me to thinking was I mentioned initially how I'm thinking of not doing standalone product reviews, but then as I thought about that didn't quite sit right with me last night as I was trying to fall asleep. I was thinking, but I still enjoy making them, so maybe I'll still make them, but just in a way that's a bit more fun or more short or less formulaic. And I'll make them for me and then just see what happens to them instead of trying to make them perfect, which has kind of been my ideal. Because for instance, I have this like order coming of jeans and I thought it could be cute to do like a standalone video of these different jeans that I bought, make it just about that. So we'll see. I'm kind of just thinking of that idea a bit right now. So the other thread that I kind of wanted to pick up on was talking about hypervigilance, which I never really got that much into. I just sort of mentioned that I'm someone who has hypervigilance, and how that manifests for me is that I cannot turn off. I can't turn off my brain. Like if you see people, or maybe you're one of these people that can fall asleep watching a movie, like on your sofa, I will tell you that has never happened to me, not once in my life. There's no way for me to fall asleep without me making the conscious decision to actually fall asleep. And you know, that sounds nice, but it can actually be a hindrance sometimes. Like some people don't mind falling asleep to movies and stuff that are on late at night, and some people don't like it because it disturbs their sleep. And you know, if you've slept for 30 minutes, now it's going to ruin your bedtime. So they wish that they could stay up through those things, but that's not me. So this also like manifests like, you know, it would be great to sleep a little bit on an airplane, or if I'm on a long car trip, it would be nice to put my head down and take 30 minutes of a nap if I'm not the one driving, obviously. But where it's always been problematic my whole life is at night when I'm trying to fall asleep, because I have this hypervigilance and it takes a lot for my brain to shut down. So the way that I found that helps me now is I listen to podcasts. It's not ideal, but I've been doing it for so long now and it's actually very effective. It helps me fall asleep in half the time. I just find a boring podcast to listen to. Typically the ones that help me the most are ones where it's just one person talking, because if it's two people, that makes me feel more alert usually. But if it's just like one person just calmly discussing something, I can fall asleep to that. And it has been effective, right? So I know it probably seems like I never work, but I am actually working. I have just a few minutes before I have to hop on a Zoom call. And I know it's not something I show because it's just like, do you really want to see me just sitting in front of my computer? It's not very exciting. And not only that, sometimes I'm doing confidential things, so I couldn't show you even if I wanted to. Anyway, off to my Zoom meeting. All right, my Zoom call is all done, and so now I'm gonna see if I can squeeze in a workout at the gym. But what shirt will I wear? Let's find out what the temperature is. What's the temperature?
Weather for where?
For Toronto?
It's 6 degrees right now in Toronto, Canada.
So a reminder that it was 20 yesterday, so that means I need to wear a sweater. Okay, this should keep me nice and warm, and then it's got this great kangaroo pocket. This is a Lululemon outfit that you see me constantly wearing. Then to complete the look, I've got these navy blue socks, and I've just been buying them from Walmart. They're actually good. They come in like 3 different colors. So I have 2 sets of these. So I have navy socks, gray socks, and then like this mid blue, because I like my socks to be very cottony, and that's actually harder than you would think to find these days. A lot of talk about fibers in this vlog today. Despite it being theoretically cold, it's actually lovely and sunny and a little bit crisp. I brought my gloves with me just in case, but I don't need them. It's Friday afternoon, so we're kind of experiencing an early rush hour. It's always very busy on a Friday because people leave work early if they're lucky. And looking around, people are dressed in a kind of mix of wintry clothes, and then I see some people in t-shirts, so a bit of a mixed bag. Another thing I wanted to mention in the realm of anxiety is sometimes anxiety is just dread. I could say that I have anxiety going to see the doctor, but what it is I've realized is I just dread going to the doctor because I've had so much bad news from the doctor before. So that's normal. It's okay to dread things, but I stopped using the word anxiety because I was giving it too much power over me. But now I know, okay, you dread it. That's fine. People dread a lot of things, but not to underplay anxiety at all. I know it can be like extremely difficult, you know, especially if you get in a rumination cycle. So for my rumination cycles, of which I am prone, what I do is I just immediately stop myself. I'm like, nope, you're not doing that right now. And I try and redirect my thoughts. It doesn't always work though, but often it does. Come the teens from the local all-boys school. I mean, you get all types, and I mean all types on this street. Like I said, you get the fancy ladies from the next neighborhood dropping off their expensive clothes. You get your teenagers on their school break, and you get a lot of unhoused people too, and emotionally disturbed people. Oh, city life for you. Like, obviously life is not perfect, and I would never want to portray that, and I don't think I do. I actually had to pop into the pharmacy just to pick up a prescription, but of course, I've been sidetracked by the cute Easter things. Oh my gosh. Oh, my son's too old for all of these things, which is kind of a shame. I love stuff like this. Oh my goodness. How cute is this? I don't know. Sometimes you think you're a grown-up and then you see stuff like this and you realize you're still 6 years old at heart. It's adorable. Okay, let's put them back. Sweet little Easter baskets, adorable. A unicorn one, a chick, incongruously a piggy, a rabbit with no face, I guess. Okay. When did mini eggs get so expensive? This little bag is $7.49. This bigger bag is $13.99. Okay, that's 400 grams, which is a lot. Maybe like a pound, but still. You need your address, please? 37. Okay, just picked up my prescription and I think I might get some junk food from the dollar store next door. I'm really craving Cadbury cream eggs. They're around all year now. They never used to be when I was growing up, but I'll only eat them like one before Easter because they're so sugary, but they're so good. I also often get a bag of chips on a Friday. That's the truth. So yes, I'm gonna walk into the gym holding a bag of chips, which just seems right for me. Even the dollar store seems nicer on a sunny day and on a Friday to boot. Okay, if you don't already know, let me introduce you into some really classic Canadian flavors. Ketchup is a big one here, which I don't really like, but a lot of people love. I do like all dressed though, which is kind of like, almost like a salt and vinegar, but plus other flavors. It's hard to describe, but it definitely has that sort of sour, sweet thing going on. Okay, let's do all dressed. I haven't bought these in ages and I always go to the back. Is grabbing things from the back an Asian thing? Because I've only really ever seen my Asian family do this where you just will not take the first two things that are lined up. You'll just like reach to the back for the fresher one. I don't know. Okay, but I am here for the Easter goodies. So let's see what they've got. Oh yeah, cream eggs. So we're gonna do that. It's $3 for the 3 of them. Okay, I have to stop vlogging now because my hands are now full. See you in a bit. Another very specific type of anxiety that I'm always dealing with is worrying about breast cancer reoccurrence, and that's why I'm at the gym. Now, part of the reason for this is that, exercise is just very helpful for anxiety, and then the other part, that's what my oncologist told me to do. She said that you need to exercise. It really helps with breast cancer recurrence. She was always on my case about that, and so that was one lesson that I took away from her. When I do it, I feel like I've done something because that recurrence is kind of out of my control, except for these very few variables. And so one of the things that is in my control and has been proven to help is exercise. So that is something that I force myself to do. I'm not gonna be here long, just 20 minutes, get it done and go home. 20 minutes is not an hour, but I don't like to overdo it because I give myself injuries. Better than nothing. I think that a key mistake that women my age make is they feel like they have to go for an hour, but you don't. Like 20 minutes is a lot better than doing nothing. Sometimes an hour just feels like too much and it's too much of a chunk out of your day, but if you just can break it down, you'll get it done. At least that works for me, and I try and go daily except for the days I go to Pilates. So here we are. I'm gonna stop taping now though because I don't think these people want to be in my vlog. The oil paint has been very fun to explore, but my goodness, it is so messy. It gets on my hands, it gets smeared everywhere, so I have to be ultra careful what I touch from now on in. Here are the cream eggs, and I can't resist. I'm gonna take a bite.
What I like about this 3-pack is that they've packaged it in foil, because now they're packaging it in plastic for freshness, but I don't know. I like the foil. Okay, I'm just gonna take one bite now and then I'm gonna save it for later. So sweet though. Okay, I took 2 bites, I lied. See what I mean? I got white paint on this apron. In my 1 year of watercolor, I never got watercolor on my clothes, and in 1 day of oil painting, I've already got it on my clothes. Something that came while I was just here working on my oil painting was this Ultra Human ring sizing kit. So this is one of those things where, I'll be honest, I got influenced by seeing other people wear these on vlogs, because I too love to watch vlogs. And a lot of my favorite vloggers wear one of these, and the main reason really is to track your sleep. I've been really interested in tracking my sleep because I definitely sleep enough, because I allow myself to sleep in now, which is not a liberty I used to allow myself. I used to think I was some sort of machine. My natural wake up time is like 7, maybe even before 7 in the summer, and then in the winter, 7:45, 8 seems to be when I naturally want to wake up. But as I get older, I'm having these awake interludes, as I like to call them, where I'm kind of awake for half an hour. And it used to really stress me out, especially if I had somewhere I had to be the next day. I had to be sitting at my desk for 8:39 in the morning. Now I can just let it go. I listen to a podcast, I relax, I just use it as a bit of downtime. But I'd like to know the quality of my sleep, and that's what these rings are for. Here are the colors, and I think I'm gonna be doing the gold, even though I'm a silver wearer, like platinum. My wedding rings are platinum, but I'm gonna wear it on this hand, and I think I'm gonna do a gold ring. I don't mind mixing metals. And then here are all the different sizes, and the idea is that these have sensors in them, and then they just sense how well you're sleeping. Sorry for the background noise, that's my washing machine doing a spin with probably too much stuff in the actual washing machine. What do you guys think? So this is Bionic Gold, the one I'm thinking of getting. There's Space Silver. I may still get this one. And then there's some nice matte ones, matte gray, which is nice but not for me. Aster Black. That barely looks black at all. That looks to me very silverish. And then a raw titanium. I think I like this one the best, followed by this one. And then there's this ring sizing kit. So I don't have the ring yet. I've got to wear this for actually a couple nights because they have something that's like a sensor on them. So you want to make sure that is comfortable. Well, I don't know. I'll read all the directions. Take the 2-night sizing test, it says. Wear the sample ring for at least 2 nights. Ensure the sensor bumps are on the palm side and the ring doesn't easily rotate. Okay, that's cool. So I can change because I thought I picked Bionic Gold, but it seems like I can change my ring color if that's what I want to do. That's the smallest size. That's the 05, and I think that's actually my size. What would you do if your finger were smaller than this? I don't know. Yeah, I bet you that's gonna be my size, but I have to be certain I wanna wear it here because I don't think it's gonna fit. Yeah, it's not gonna fit on any of the other fingers. Now, if I go up to the 6, I might have more flexibility in what finger I wear it on. Like if I ever wanted to switch it to here, I don't like wearing a ring on this finger, but that might be an option. I'm gonna wear this for 2 nights and we'll see how it goes. Then I'm gonna get my actual ring, then I'm gonna have an app, and then I'm gonna be able to check my sleep, so that should be interesting. But yeah, these are just plasticky trial rings, I guess, because they have that sensor bump in them right there. I'm not sure how well you can see it. That make it shaped a little differently than a regular ring, so that needs to be comfortable and not twist around. Ooh, I think I might be getting another delivery. Let's go look. It was just an unexciting work-related package. These are just, if you print out the shipping label, it's just like the clear pocket that you can put the shipping label in. It looks like this basically, but I'm running low. I'm down to my last one. It's for when I ship things. Like, call me crazy, but I think they need to go with one smaller size. I do have very small hands, but I don't have child-size hands, so. Right, so it's either gonna be the smallest or the second smallest. I'm gonna have to wear these for 2 nights and see what I like better and where I wanna wear it. Oh, and the other nice thing about Ultra Human is that I looked at a lot of these sleep sensor rings, and this is the only one that I could readily find that doesn't have a monthly subscription, because I think that's ridiculous. Like, once you've bought the piece of gear, you shouldn't have to pay for a monthly subscription as well to be able to access the facts that come along with it. I don't like that. So this one doesn't. All right, everyone, I'm gonna end the vlog off here. Hope you had a lot of fun with me. It was like a lot of cozy at-home time, this vlog, right? I didn't really go to too many places, just took you along for a couple days. So if you enjoyed that, be sure to give this video a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Subscribe, join the club. Thanks for watching and spending your time here with me. I really do appreciate it. Drop a comment, leave an emoji if you've made it this far to the deep end of the video, and we'll see you in the next one.